think it was cousin Jeffrey that mentioned something, and I wanted you to expound on this idea. He said that there's a family Bible, a big Bible, and he said that it's currently in your possession, but it gets passed around between that generation. And I've never noticed that, but can you tell me a little bit more about the history of that?
Yes, that started when my mother passed.
Mm-hmm.
She had the family Bible.
Okay.
Okay, when she passed, then it got passed to David, next oldest, and then it's been passing down ever since.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Does it have her notes in it? Did she write on it or anything?
You know, I haven't read that Bible for a while. I'd have to go back and freshen up to see where we left off at.
Gotcha.
But that's where it started. We said, well, we got the Bible and we gave it to Mama. We bought it a long time ago.
Oh, okay. So it was a family gift.
Family to family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. So it's almost at this point like a family heirloom. You know how it gets passed around.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is there anything else like that you know of, that's been passed down from generations or something?
Well,
like
my grandmother Bible was passed down, and I think that's kind of where it's kindled from. Start over, and then we gave it to Mama.
Okay.
So my grandmother was the oldest living one at the time, and the Bible was in her possession.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that same Bible that you have now used to be your grandmother's, and then it was your mother's, and then
Now that I have to.
Is it two different Bibles?
I think it's two different Bibles. I think her Bible got, when she passed, I think one of her children took the Bible from that point.
Mm-hmm.
Her Bible original,
Mm-hmm.
and we bought a new one and started over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool though. That's really cool.
So that's how it came in, because you see, I used to stay with my grandmother a lot. I don't know. It seemed like the women's liked me for some reason.
What was that about, huh?
She picked me to come. Well, it wasn't exactly that, but she had another one of her grandsons, and we was the same age bracket. So that's why I got to stay over there more than the rest of them did.
Gotcha. So you guys formed a little connection there.
Yeah, we played together and worked out puzzles and what have you. And then, so that was always something to do.
Mm-hmm.
And but my grandmother, she looked like she favored me some kind of way. I didn't realize it then, but I noticed a few times that it looked like she was favoring me to come over and stay.
Wow.
And I don't know why that were. I can tell you this story. My grandfather used to come over to our house, and this one particular time, he came over, and you could see him coming before he got to the house. He had to come through a gap, and had to get out the burger and open the gate and close it back after he drive through. I saw him when he drove up to the gap, and we was all out on the porch, on the front porch, eating watermelon and throwing the seeds out to the chickens and
All right.
what we do occasionally. And when I saw him, I jumped off that porch and down to that road I went. I mean, I really, I ran down there, and he just stayed in the burger. I opened the gap, and he begged for me to come on and drive the burger through the gap.
Wow.
Yeah, and I drove the burger through the gap, and closed it back and drove to the house. I tell you, that was I'd never forget that.
I know you felt like the man right there.
Oh, my chest was about this far out in front of me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we're not turning on now, are we?
Yes, we are. We are.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know if I should throw this in there or not, but he said that time that he visited, he said that the girl's going to be hanging around this one. And I can hear that ringing in my ear. And I didn't know, I was only about 7 or 8 by that time. And I wasn't looking at girls for keep,
Right.
But anyway, he said that, and why he said it, I don't know. But it seemed like that happens that way.
Might have been a little bit of charm that she had, combined with the looks, the energy, the aura, as the kids say, the aura,
Yeah. But anyway, I just remember him saying that. And I remember I dropped him off at the gate, the front gate of the house. And somebody got him a chair. I don't know who got him a chair, but while I was going, we had what we call a hitch post.
Okay.
For you put your horse or mule or whatever you're riding. That's where you tied him up while you was there. And when I was going there, that's when they got him a chair and a slice of watermelon. And when I came back, he was eating watermelon, and that was a day for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a cool experience.
Oh, see, I wanted to be seen, and I wanted the rest of them to see me driving the burger. That's what I wanted.
Oh yeah.
I had drove it. Let's see. Not like this though, but I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I remember my chest was way out in front. Because I didn't have to explain to nobody.
Right. They can see it.
They saw the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Saw the whole thing. And my older brothers, they didn't run down and open the gate and drive the buggy up.
Yeah.
That was me.
I bet they wanted to though, didn't they?
They probably did. Yeah. Wondering why.
They was looking at you like, man, he got to drive the buggy.
Yeah, I had to drive the buggy.
That's cool.
You. And then when he was ready to go, I reversed it. I did everything in reverse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew your way around.
Oh yeah. Was that the phone?
That's the house phone. Let's see who it is. Oh, Gasper calling back. You want to talk to him?
I can call him when I get through it.
Okay.
We'll get through him.
It's actually ironic though, because I did want to ask you about him, and kind of in tying in what you just mentioned, just about back when you were a kid, because I know you said that you and Gasper are first cousins.
Yeah.
So you guys spent a lot of time together back in the day as well, right?
Well, not growing up. I hooked up with Gasper after we got to Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
See, I went to Milwaukee first because I'm older than him, and he came to Milwaukee, and that's where we hooked up doing stuff.
Gotcha.
But I had told, I've told Gasper more one time that we're first cousins, so he know that. I said, but now we're friends too.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the first cousin, we're friends. I said, no, you may not want to say that in front of anybody. I said, but I'm going to say it. Because what we do for each other and with each other, only friends do that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I needed him, like I was telling you about the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him about the doors because I know he's a carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
And so it came down to if you want to, and I said, well, why don't we just get rid of the doors and get regular door sizes and build the room, that area back fit in the door like this.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, if you don't want the doors, that'll be a lot better to do. Hey, let's do it. I don't want the doors because I had, that house had rooms, doors didn't fit there, and they wore out besides.
Right.
And I said, let's replace them.
And that was Fifth Street, right?
That was Fifth Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, Fifth Street taught me everything I know about, carpentry and fixing and all that stuff, because everything could go bad was going bad in that house. And that's why I said, everybody that's doing something, they need a Fifth Street.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have a baseline, right?
You got to be taught some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And that house taught me all of it.
And that was the first house that you owned, right?
That was the very first.
Yeah. So I can imagine there was a plethora of lessons that came along with that.
Well, see, we never lived in that house.
Right.
We bought that house for income.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's an investment.
It's an investment. And neither one of us knew about how to invest.
Mm-hmm.
But that house taught us. Well, it taught me. She didn't do much. She wanted to tear it down or sell it. So, well, we don't have nothing to sell. Who's gonna buy this shack?
Right. You had to do something with it.
You got to fix it first.
Man, and what year was that? Do you remember what year you bought it?
Let's see. I probably have to go get the papers.
Oh man,
it's been that long. But
you couldn't have been in Milwaukee long, right?
No, couldn't have been that long, because I came here in '53, I think it was.
Okay.
And it wasn't. Let's see. I can't remember the year.
Gotcha.
But it's on the books.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you said you got it for $4,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where I paid for it, $4,000.
Man.
And the whole thing was that what caught my eye on it was that it was a double lot. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
It was a double lot, so it wasn't like just on a little corner. The house was on the corner of the alley, mm-hmm. But then back the other way, that's where the other house was. Gotcha. And they wouldn't allow me to build another house back there, so we just made that a yard.
Gotcha.
And that really set it off. I put a fence up and made it look nice.
Right.
And started doing stuff. It had 37 windows.
Oof.
And there was these old windows.
I bet.
And I said, the man came by and written me up, the city guy. Uh-huh. I had to fix all the windows. And I told Gasper, I called him, I says, I need your help. Because there's no way, all these windows was old and the putty was like rock. You couldn't chisel all that putty out and put glass in.
I mean, 37 windows, Grandpa, that house sounded like it was all glass.
It had a bunch of those little these kind of things,
okay,
whatever you call them.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, there's no way I'm going to do all that, chopping them, putting that glass in. And I says, I'm going to cover these windows.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Gasper. I talked to another man that helped me when I was going to buy it. I took him by there and showed him the house that I was interested in.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, that would be a good investment.
Wow.
Good investment. And he had been building houses and buying houses, and he had houses all over the place.
I'm curious where you met this individual. Because that seems like a very important person to have in your corner. Somebody who knows more than you and can give you good advice on how you invest.
Well, yes, he built houses. See, and back when he was building houses, you could build, put the electric in, the water, plumbing, all that. He knew all that.
The whole 9 yards.
Whole 9 yards, and see, that's where I picked up from. I would help him do stuff in his house, and he'd show me what to do and how and so on.
Cool.
He was a friend of the family.
Okay.
Let's call it, because we all knew him.
Okay.
He helped Brown, Luther, Tommy. He helped all of us. But I was the first one that he started. He started with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that was definitely beneficial. I already know.
Oh yeah, that was, and there's a story when the hot water tank went out, and I'm married now.
Okay.
And Betty, she don't want to be without hot water.
I wonder why.
I didn't know. I never had any hot water tank till I got Milwaukee.
Okay. Oh no, you good. You good.
Yeah. And that was the first hot water tank that I was responsible for installing.
Mm-hmm.
I called this man. He says, I'm finna go to work now. I can't come by now. I'll be late for work. He said, but I could tell you how to do it, and you can do it. I don't know. You don't know me.
He said, I called you for a reason.
Yeah. The only running water that I ever had was, we went to the edge of the ditch and put the spigot there, and water ran down the hill. That's the only water I ever.
So you was used to the creek.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So he said, there's only 3 pipes that goes to the hot water tank. That's the hot and cold water and the gas. Those are the only 3 pipes go there. So he said, you take that, and you got a spigot to turn the water off and on.
Okay.
To the heater. Turn that water off, and all your stuff is right on the tank. You ain't got to look for it. So okay, I got that turned off. So you let the water run out while you go and get another tank. And I said, but what do I get? What did I ask for when I go to Sears? Because Sears was the place to go. Mm-hmm. They sold everything that you needed.
Everything.
Yeah.
One-stop shop.
That's it. So that's how we got started with Sears. I went and did everything he said. But I didn't get, there was a short tank and a long one. And he said, well, which one do you have? I said, I don't know. He said, well, measure it and then get the length. There are only 2 kinds, a short and a long. Mm-hmm. So whatever you got there now, you get that to replace it. And he told me about those pipes that on that you hook the water up with. Mm-hmm. He says, you make sure you get those, because most of the time when the tank go, those don't work right no more. Mm-hmm. So I'll just tell you, get the pipes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got this information. I'm a plumber now. I'm going right here.
Certified.
Oh yeah, I just got certified with my man.
Good to go.
I go out to Sears. I want a hot water tank. What kind you want? Now he asking me the wrong question to start out with.
The one I need. That's what you said.
Yeah. I didn't know what to tell him. He said we got a short one and a long one, and I forgot to get the measurement. I went in. I said, "Well, give me the short one. You want the 40 gallons or the 30?"
Okay.
That's another question the man didn't cover with me. He just told me to get the same kind that's already there.
Right.
And I didn't take that measurement, and now I don't know what to tell him.
Uh-oh.
I said, "Well, give me the short one." I got home with the short one. The long one's about this much taller than the short one.
Okay. And that's the one you needed, wasn't it?
That's the one I needed.
Oh, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So I'm stuck again. I didn't get enough questions. I become a plumber too quick, you know.
It's time to go back to school.
Yeah, I got to go back to school.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, he said, when I told him I wanted the 40 gallons, when I was talking to the man on the phone, because I didn't want to be running out of water, because I know she's gonna be washing and kids will start coming, and I know she's gonna keep that washing machine, that thing busy. So I did a good one that time. I got 40 gallons instead of the 30.
Had some foresight on that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's how I started out. That was my first water tank. And the other part of that was he taught me on the phone how to do it, how to install it.
Okay.
He says I was his only customer that I got taught on the phone rather than him being there.
And wait, this is your friend or the Sears guy that said that?
Yeah, that was a friend.
The friend,
that was
okay.
the man that
Gotcha.
taught me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I got taught on the phone. Can you imagine that?
No, I really can't. But he said he had to work, so that was the only way you was gonna learn.
That's it.
Hey, that's still resourceful though.
And he said, "I'll stop by your house when I get off work to see how you made out." And he did. He came by there and he says he called me his installed the older phone, something like that. I was that to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
He said you a good listener because you did everything like what I told you. Yeah. Got it.
That's interesting. Did you ever get into, that was your intro to plumbing, right?
Yes.
What about electrical? Did you do electrical work?
I never did accomplish electric, but I did work on electric.
Okay.
What I did was electric, I ran the wires.
Man.
I ran the wires. I want, the houses didn't have a lot of outlets.
Gotcha.
And so I ran wire. The room had one outlet, and you got to run wires all over the place.
And what about the light? You would have to do that too, right?
Me and electric never did get along. Let's see. I installed one fan.
Okay.
That was later. But I could run the wire. I wasn't afraid of electric when the thing turned and hooked up.
Right.
But once you hook it to that box.
Uh-huh.
No, then I call it, that's your job from there on.
Yeah, hey, listen, I feel the same way. That electric's something else.
Yeah.
You know?
I was so cautious about it, I turned the electric, I turned off the main hookup downstairs. the main box.
Yeah.
It always had an arm on it.
Right.
When you pull it down, it's off. Everything is off.
Mm-hmm.
When I was gonna change the light bulb, I turned it off.
We ain't taking no chances.
Ain't taking no chances. No, sir.
You're not just the light switches off. You just turned off all the electricity.
All the electricity, and that's to put a bulb in.
Right.
And so I had all respect due for electric.
I know it. Oh man, now one might say you was being precautious.
All right.
That is definitely some precaution there.
Yeah, and it stays that way. Everything what I would do with the electric, I pulled the cord. I pulled the big hammer down. Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah. So I was cautious with that, and I never did learn the procedure with electric. I knew. I told the gas man, I said, don't teach me how to do electric. I already know enough. I know all I need to know about it.
Right.
I know if they tell you if you put the black and white wire, keep them separate.
Mm-hmm.
What I know is if you fool around and touch the other one, you shocked, man.
You gonna feel it.
You'll know about it. Don't nobody have to tell you shocked. You know it.
Oh man, I can't play with that.
No. So and that's how I did with electric. I ran electric when I lived on 13th Street.
Okay.
When I added that room downstairs, I ran electric all through that room.
Wow.
And I didn't have to have no extension cords down there.
Really? And did you learn that from your friend who told you about the water heater, or did you pick that up somewhere else?
I picked it up as I went along. I was never afraid of electric, unless I'm the one that's dealing with it.
Right.
And if I got to do it, I'm pulling the cord. I'm letting the hammer down.
I know it.
I'm not doing it myself. But as far as running the wires, I was good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have no problem with that because as long as I know it's off, I run the wires. And a couple of guys told me, said, "Man, you ran these wires like you know what you're doing."
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm doing. I'm staying away from the live plug over there.
Guaranteed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that's how I got by with electric. And I let everybody that came there to do anything with electric, I let them know, no, I'm not going around that box. Don't show me how to do that.
Right.
Because we don't get along. the box see me coming, he'd draw back. I dare you to touch me. I'm gonna shock you.
So I ain't gonna cross that line.
No, sir.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that's how I handle electric, the plumbing, and 2x4s. I bought a saw and I'd go to work on the 2x4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, by the time I came around in the picture, it seemed like you knew pretty much everything there was to it when it came to running a house.
Well, the house taught me all that stuff you were talking about. Yeah, Fifth Street did taught me what to do.
It all circles back to that first experience.
That's right. Yeah. So that's how I handle it. But I was telling you, I had 37 windows to that house, and the man came by and wrote me up. I got to fix all of them. And I said, no, there's no way I'm gonna do all that putty because it was hard like a rock.
I know it.
And so what I did, I talked to the man that told me how to put the water tank in. He was a carpenter also. Okay. And he did electric. Okay. He ran my electric out to my garage. And so he ran my electric for me. And so what was I saying?
You had 37 windows.
Yeah.
And you wasn't going to do it.
I wasn't going to replace all them windows. And I talked to this man. He said, well, the man can't tell you how many windows to have. He just said, if you got them, you got to fix them.
That's what you got to do with them. Right.
Yeah.
But it didn't say how many you had to have.
No.
So You was like, I'm getting rid of some.
I'm getting rid of most of it. 37 windows. And what I did, I bought, I don't know, 2 sheets or 3 sheets of plywood.
Okay.
3/4 inch. So that's a pretty heavy piece. Because I'm not going to be going down there all them trips. I just bought them sheets.
Right.
And I cut the windows out of that I needed as I go.
Exactly.
And I had 17 windows when I finished.
So you covered up 20 of the windows. And honestly, 17 is still kind of a lot. That's
It was still a lot, but compared to what I had before.
Oh yeah. No.
See, what saved me was that covering the windows, I covered the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that I cut the plywood to fit right in the window.
Okay.
So I didn't have to do any of them ones he was talking about.
Hey, that's one way to do it.
And I cut them out, plus I painted them.
Okay.
And they're there to stay.
Yep.
They ain't going nowhere.
That's what it is now.
Yeah. But those are the type of things that I was able to foresee and cut short all that work that was involved in it.
Right. Now that's smart. That really is, because now you're still up to code, so
Yeah.
the inspector's going to pass you,
Yeah.
and it was less work that you had to do overall.
Yeah.
And probably looked a little bit better, because I mean, I can't imagine one house with 37 windows. I mean, that's just
See, they wasn't all windows that you let up and down.
right. Some of them was
Was
just
corners just to decorate.
That's still a lot.
But I says, no, I'm not gonna do this.
No, sir.
Yeah. So, and then I changed. This was a duplex. Okay.
Oh.
And when you got a duplex, there was a gate going. You had to go around to the back, come in the door.
Oh, okay.
And,
Okay.
and the people wanted a sidewalk on the outside of the house, so you wouldn't have to go all the way around the house to get in.
Okay.
The people that lived upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So I took care of that. I put a sidewalk on the inside of the yard
Really?
that led back to the back, and that was three doors there, I believe it was.
Okay.
3 of them big doors.
Wow. So you had to dig that out, and you laid the concrete and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
And see, that was another thing. This guy, he was a concrete man too.
Okay. Man, see, you was plugged in. You really had the source.
Yeah.
You could ask him all the questions that you needed to.
Yeah.
And he'll help you out.
Yeah.
That's a dream come true. For your first house, you know?
Yeah, that was our first house.
Not taking nothing away, because you still had to do it all. But, you know, at least you had somebody reliable you could ask.
Yeah.
And then you was able to.
And if I wasn't able to do some of that, I got to pay somebody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And to run that sidewalk, and I didn't know if I was allowed to do it or not. My man, he said, yeah, you can, that's your house.
You better do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Wow. So Fifth Street was a duplex. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a duplex.
Wow. Man, so you really started off with like 2 places in one, pretty much. That's nice.
Yeah, I had a lot to do. See what it were. The man that I bought it from, he had got a little too old to do any more fixing.
Mm-hmm.
And the people got old faster than back in old days than they do now.
You still waiting to get old, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm still waiting.
You know?
Yeah. So anyway, this man's family, when they got up, that's how it got to be a duplex. He made the upstairs and gave it to his son for him to live.
Okay.
So I didn't have no sons at that time. I just got married.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, hey, if he can make it a duplex, I can finish it, and I got a duplex.
Sound like a plan to me.
Yeah.
That's a great way to start a
Yeah.
real estate venture, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
You said we get it for, a decent price. There's a 2-for-1,
Yeah. Yeah.
And you pretty much did all the repairs that it needed on your own.
Yeah.
That's clutch. That's clutch. Okay.
But see, now I said Gasper and I worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he helped me a lot with ideas and where it's best to do this or that and so on.
Okay.
I got a lot of information from him. Mm-hmm. And he helped me with a lot of that heavy stuff. Because them doors, man, it was, I think, 12-foot doors or 14 or whatever.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Castle doors.
Yeah. And the person that was living there when I bought the house wanted the doors fixed. Well, I'm gonna fix them, but it's gonna take some time. I can't just zap them fixed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of work to do to fix them doors. And okay, so we went along with it. And Jasper came and helped me with, ideas and how to do the part that I need to fill in at the top of the door.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he went with me to buy the doors. We measured up and went and bought the doors. That I must have got them at Sears because that was my first house.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it worked out. And then later on, his house needed work. Okay, so he changed his house from upstairs to a one family. He had upstairs in his house.
Okay.
We tore off the whole upstairs.
Really?
Down to the floor. And he said, I don't want to go back with no two. I just want one. I don't have no kids now, and they all gone. So, yeah.
So just got rid of the whole story.
Yeah.
Wow.
And build his house back. Man, I'm telling you. I say, Gasper, if all this stuff fit that you're cutting, now we was cutting. I would leave work and go by his house.
Okay.
And I didn't go home till sometime 10 o'clock.
Ooh. Was this when you were working for the school board?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But what he did, he said, I wanna cut this, and it was fall coming.
Mm.
And he wanted to get that all cut before the winter.
Yeah, for it get cold outside.
Yeah. Man, we worked over there, I don't know, a couple of weeks, cutting the rooms out that he's gonna install when the spring comes. And so he was cutting each room as he was gonna put them up. So he don't have to go back through here. I got to pick this out. This room is part of that room. Each room, and he sealed that off, covered that up with plastic.
Okay.
Covered it up so the weather don't get to it.
Right.
And he cut out. He said, I got to have a hallway coming through here. Cut that out, and he's gonna have 2 bedrooms upstairs. Cut that out separate. And I said, man, if this all fit, I got to tip my hat.
See, I don't know how you gonna do it.
I don't know, but I'm downstairs and he's upstairs.
Okay.
I'm cutting the things, whatever he say cut, that's what would cut. And that's when I told him. I said, if this all fit, when it's time to install these rooms, I gotta tip my hat to you, man. Man, I'm telling you, when that spring came, and we got working on putting that together, everything just like he laid it out.
Wow, man. So y'all both had some vision,
Yeah.
That takes a lot of foresight. He was able to make it all come to reality.
Yeah, and nothing but here but open space.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no diagram or no pattern to go by.
Right.
He just knew what he wanted, and that's what he made. Yeah.
That's good.
But now, later on, his house needed painting. And guess there's no painter. He'll tell you. He's not a painter.
I wonder who he called.
Yeah, you could probably guess. Luther was where he started at.
Okay.
Because Luther always carried on foolishness and, laughing and carrying on. But when it came to the painting, I had a little edge on him.
Okay.
And we both worked it. But we painted Gasper's house. And the city had got on him about he had to paint by a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
Luther and I worked over there, painted that house. Gasper came home, and the house was painted.
Beautiful.
And ever since then, I've been his right-hand man.
That's how you earned your spot, huh?
Yeah, I earned it.
Man, that's cool. That's cool.
But and we didn't charge him for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to pay something that says, if you had the money, you'd have had it painted.
Right.
So if you ain't got the money, how you gonna pay me?
Just tell him to be available the next time around when you need a favor, right?
There you go. And he had helped me with a bunch of stuff. I didn't do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot, but I didn't do it all.
Yeah. You had your peoples to help you out.
Yeah. Now his brother, I wouldn't have been able to do that with him because he wasn't the type of materials I guess we were.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we got it together.
Mm-hmm.
Got it together, and if you've seen that house, we ain't thought about taking no pictures of it before and after.
Yeah, I wish though.
Yeah, that would have been a good thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't think about it.
Have you been by recently? I wonder what it looks like right now.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
It still looks nice.
Good.
Yeah.
It's been kept pretty well.
Yeah. It's been. I went by there before I came down here the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Went down memory lane real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So I actually want to circle back to the beginning of your real estate career, because I know it started with Fifth Street, but can you tell some stories about before, just leading up to that point? Because if I'm not mistaken, you told me that when you first moved to Milwaukee, you were staying in like a boarding house, so to speak, right?
Right.
And then can you just talk about like that point in your life, like up until the point where you felt the need to buy some property?
Well, David came first, Luther next, Gene next, and I was next.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 4 of us here for I don't know exactly how many years now.
Mm-hmm.
But we stayed at David's mother-in-law's house. She had the boarding house.
Gotcha.
And she would cook breakfast for us, make lunch for us to take to work, and supper in the evening.
Oh, wow.
That was room and board.
Oh, you can't get no better than that.
That was $8 a week.
Man.
Now you run out there and find me some prices like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for a long time. Bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's how it worked. But she had, let's see, one big room, and let's see, I think 4 of us slept in that room, and she had 2 more rooms up there.
Mm-hmm.
that she rented out.
Okay.
So $8 a person, and you got, how many did I count?
You said 2 more rooms up there. You got
Yeah.
four people paying $8 a week. So that's $32 a week right there, just off of you and your brothers.
Yeah.
And then she had 2 more rooms.
2 more
And
rooms.
they were probably paying.
Yeah, they were paying more because they had a private room with a door.
Mm-hmm.
We had, our room just had one door to it.
Right.
And we had beds in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't no problem with us because,
Y'all family, so
yeah.
that's already. You grew up with that.
Oh yeah, I was used to that.
So she was making good money at that time.
But count that up there, put your fingers out there and see what she was making a week.
She was doing something good, man, especially for back then.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how she did it, and she could afford to to cook for us like she was doing, but she was used to doing that. See,
Okay.
she was cooking for her sons and at home for the family and all. So that was just a drop in the bucket for her.
Right. She was already doing that.
Yeah.
So then when you left there, where did you, is that when you moved in with grandma? Or was it somewhere in between?
Oh, no.
No.
No, when you say grandma, I'm thinking about my
Your
grandma.
grandma?
No. What we planned to do, we looked at the situation. Now, we were paying X amount of dollars for her, given to her. We could do that ourselves. In other words, we could buy a house together and then save up when we paid for it. Like everybody would pay until this house got paid for, and then we buy another one.
I know that's right.
And then that's how we plan on doing this real estate stuff.
That's smart.
Yeah. And then they started to get married, and that plan
Changed the whole plan.
the whole plan went down the drain.
Oh man.
Went down the drain. But we should have gotten a second plan on that.
Yeah.
And let it keep on going. Figure out how much each one to pay, and keep on doing that same, using that same
That formula, right?
formula. Yeah.
Right.
That's what we should have done. But marriage got in there, and everybody wanted their own house. Yeah, well, you're going to get your own house, but you got to wait a while.
It's coming, right?
Yeah.
Be patient. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Be patient.
But that's how that got turned
Okay.
the other way. But if we had stuck with that plan, we could have had, each one of us could have had a house much sooner than we did. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you see that time and time again, especially with other races, other ethnicities.
Yeah.
You know, that they all in the same spot, saving up, you
Right.
know, so that they can, like you said, it's easier on everybody individually.
Right.
When you're splitting the load.
Right.
You know.
And see, we were used to splitting loads
Right.
all the time. We grew up doing that. And that wasn't no problem. I think that was part of how that idea came into focus.
Right.
Now we're looking at, hey, we're paying X amount of dollars here, and we're paying for her house. We need to be paying for one for ourselves.
Right. Might as well.
Yeah. And we had cooks. Evelyn was here,
Okay.
so she would cook for us, and we were gonna cut her in on the
Right.
on the pay,
Right.
so she wouldn't have to work and cook. If she got some meals going.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get some money in your pocket.
Right. So that was the best idea that we collectively had, was buying these houses. And if we had did that, we could have got to our goal much sooner. And then once the plan got busted up, then everybody was on his own then,
Right.
and
That's funny.
the beat goes on.
So fast forward a couple years, right? You just got married, and you didn't own any property when you got married, right?
No.
So you got married, and you were staying in a apartment.
Yes, I got an apartment, and I moved from that one to another one. It took me about 3 or 4 moves to get the one I was looking for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's kind of how that happened.
Okay.
But when I knew once we got married that I was going to be getting my own apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's what happened.
But how did you come to the idea of buying property, but you knew that you weren't going to stay in it when you decided on Fifth Street? Where did that come from?
Well, I would never planned on living in that house.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that for income.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I talked to the same man that I was telling you about.
Okay.
And I think he was the one that talked me into buying this house. I took him by it and showed it to him, and he said, "Yeah, this would be a good house for you, a good starter house," what he called it. And that's what it started and finished. That was the first house I bought. Let's see. And the last one I sold.
Really? Oh, wow. After all that time.
After all that time.
Because you said over the whole course, you owned, 14 properties, right?
Yeah.
Wow. First one that you bought and the last one you sold.
Yeah.
That's something.
And I sold it because I was dealing with these issues, what you call it?
The tenants?
No, the people tear up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dealing with that, see.
Right. You had the maintenance.
Yeah, the maintenance on it. And when that started to get real heavy, I said, I got to get out of this business because I can't keep doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That takes its toll on you after a while.
Yeah. But I don't think you will be able to talk to many people. You might find a few that had all these properties and made a profit off of each one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one house that I bought didn't make a profit.
And that's good investment. That shows that you saw the right qualities before you invested in something.
Well, the same man that told me how to install that water heater, he told me this. He says, now that you're in the real estate business, you got to start to learn how to fix something yourself. And I called him when that hot water tank went out. I says, who do I call when the hot water tank don't work? He said, you call the landlord. Yeah, that's who you call.
That's funny.
But I had been calling the landlord for everything that went wrong. Call the landlord.
Those same phone calls hit a little different when you the landlord, huh?
Yeah, made quite a difference.
Man, that's funny. But now, I mean, I brought that up because I thought that was really insightful that you, at that time, being fresh into marriage, I could see how very easily you could probably be like, well, I gotta buy a house now, and you move into a house and probably get into some debt because you couldn't really afford it, what have you. That's just what you envision people do when they marry. They get a house together. But you said we're gonna live in this apartment and own a house that we can make some money off of, save that money.
Okay.
Right? And then use that profit to buy the houses you really want.
Yeah.
That's how that went?
That's how it went.
Man.
Exactly. And my helpmate didn't like that idea. But I went all the way around, come right back to the post where I started. We're going to do it this way.
And it worked.
Yeah. The man that told me how to install a water heater.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me with buying the houses.
Okay.
Okay, so he said there's three things. I think I told you this. I may have, but anyway, you go and look for a house. If it's got those brittle wires and it got cracks from the basement up to the ceiling, and one more thing. Plumbing, yeah. Hanging off the wall, don't buy that one. No matter how much you lack it, say, keep marching.
Mm-hmm.
There's one out there for you. Say, don't buy with those three things. If you buy that, you're gonna be trouble with that as long as you own that house.
Mm-hmm.
And I found something like that, and I kept going. and that's another reason why that I made a profit on each house, because I followed what he suggested to me.
Yeah, that's good advice.
I never did forget that.
That stuck with me too, since you told me that.
Yeah, and you can want to get this nice house, and that's another thing he told me. You find a house that's in good shape, and then you call me and I'll go with you to look at it. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, this is a good one to buy. All you need is some cosmetics, and you can handle that. Mm. And that's what I did. I followed that pattern all the way through.
Worked out.
Yeah.